Welcome, everybody. This is our second week, session 2 of CHCDFV001. This is just a brief overview. We do have the full recording, but I have 2 short recordings coming out to you tonight. First one is just my overview of the unit and where we're up to in week 2 of the 3 weeks that we run it. And then the next recording is some of your peers doing, just selecting one client each for their role play, and some discussion around that as well, just some sector understanding and some peer review. So I'll just work through these slides for us. So session 2, there are 3 sessions and 3 weeks, and in week 3 we will be doing role plays. So the unit being CHCDFV001. Start with our acknowledgement to country. In the spirit of reconciliation, Hayter Institute of Education acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of this nation and the traditional custodians of the land on which we work, live and study. We express our gratitude for the sharing of this land, our sorrow for the personal, spiritual and cultural costs of that sharing, and hope that we may move forward together in harmony and in the spirit of healing. We pay our respect to all First Nation people and acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. Just a little bit of housekeeping, just short, brief bites of information will help you get through this unit. It is fairly heavy going. We're talking about something that's very complex and does impact a lot of people. It is definitely front and centre in the media, but I would like to think that our class discussion is going to be from the perspective of us in our roles in Diploma of Youth Work, which is what this unit is for. So we're going to have live discussion in class tonight around the understanding of complexities of family violence and identifying and understanding the behaviours of family violence. So a portion of what we're going to cover tonight is covered in quite a lot of videos, short videos. These will come out with your slides, and we, of course, do not record those for copyright reasons. And we do have consent tonight to be recording in part some of our live class. So stepping into this space as we're doing our role plays, just a couple of our learners, we would like to just talk about what power and control, we talk about coercive control and the laws in your state or territory. You will need to know what they are because your laws may be different to what Victorian law is, which is what Hayter apply to their studies. I'm based in Queensland, and so laws are different here than what they are also in the Northern Territory and some other states, but they align with the safety and wellbeing. The work that we do in Diploma of Youth Work, we can be working with the person who is the user of violence or the person who is the victim of violence. So we will have those discussions around what's our role as a worker in that space and guiding and supporting our team as they're working with people from any particular part in what we look at here is the cycle of control. And it talks about how the abuse occurs or the tension that builds and the abuse, and then the reconciliation and that calm in between. And it's drawn there as a cycle. This is only one of 3 methods, but it is a powerful one that came out in the 1970s. And in the 1970s, we didn't know a lot about it other than we did know that especially authors like Erin Pizzey, who started the very first shelter for victims of abuse, happened to be a female shelter at the time. But abuse has been with us in Australia since the first settlers actually came to Australia, and there's some incredible fiction and factual works around that. So while it might be in the media, and we do hear more and more of that, this is something that is quite ingrained into that power and control cycle. So I just want us to come back into this space. Look after yourself if you are a victim survivor with a lived experience. Even if you are not, know that working in this space with people can be quite triggering. It's hard to hear these stories because often there is no simple, here's a need and I feel that need. It isn't like that at all, as our discussion will take us there. We've discussed in classes, in our live class, around what cases were important to them. That's not one that we have shared in our recording, though. There's quite a lot of videos for you to watch in your own time, the different types of abuse. So, of course, they are embedded into your slides. So now we know what domestic and family violence is and what it looks like. Now what do you do and how do you tackle your assessments? So your very first one is around a quiz, and that learning and knowledge will come from your learner's guide. Then the second task is around research project, and you will need to know data. You will have to reference that data so that it's got a link, an author, websites, phone numbers, and then of course I would expect that your research will definitely be founded around the Australian Bureau of Statistics data on a national level, and then also in your local area. Make sure that you put that data in. I sit on these lands in this postcode, and this is the impact of domestic family violence locally, and then also look at that from a national perspective. Some people will even take their research globally as well. So identifying the needs, the interpersonal skills that you need to be able to work in this space is active listening, maintaining confidentiality, asking direct questions in a sensitive and appropriate way that usually sits around your risk, or risk to self or others. So we need to be very clear, is someone at risk? Are they being subjected to abuse? How recent is that abuse? And is that something, is it safe for you to return to? They're the questions that are what we refer to as direct. And then we also have our open-ended questions. So we use our open-ended questions to be able to bring out more of a story, but we do know on average it takes 7 times for a victim survivor to leave an abusive relationship. So where they're up to and their readiness is very important. We will find that out as we work with our clients. So we need to understand the complexities of family violence. Are we ever going to fully understand it? No, but the longer you're in the sector and the more that you work with this target group, one thing you will know for sure is that you will need to apply trauma-informed care in how you work with your clients. So no judgment, only compassionate, unconditional regard. And the 2 most important things that our clients tell us in our feedback is that, first of all, believe me and validate that what I'm going through is true for me, and that I can return to you regardless of whether you think I should leave right now or not, that I can return to you. There's some other layers around this on the safety. If there's children involved, we'll unpack a little bit of that in our role plays tonight when we do our peer review and our debrief as well. Okay. So identify and understanding the behaviours of family violence. What is it? How does it present? And then we'll do a Q&A at the end of our live session. So stay tuned for part 2. Your slides have all of those short video learnings in there, and that's taken from survivors. That's also taken from some TEDx talks around men's perspective around this. We need to make sure that we don't look at things as gender specific, that the law protects everybody in this space. So stay tuned for part 2.